Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I have three articles I'd like to review. Okay. Now, before I review them, I'd like to let you know that this is for review, information, and education purposes. This is not to take the credit for the intellectual property. In this case, for the first article, the full credit goes to the publisher, which is Popular Science. And the story by Jocelyn Solis Moreira, if I pronounced her name right. Now, on to the article. The headline reads, "The final missing piece of human genome has been decoded." Now, you can see here, there's a picture of this DNA, it looks like. This is copyright Daryl Leah, National Human Genome Research. It says it took roughly 100 years to fill in the missing details of the chromosome. Now, back to the article. Despite its macho connotations, the Y chromosome is among the teeniest of the 46 chromosomes in the human genome. It makes up only 2% of the human cell's total DNA. But because of its seemingly endless repeating bases, the Y chromosome is one of the most difficult to genetically sequence. Scientists initially believed it was nothing more than a genetic wasteland, only good for making sperm. Yet in reality, that's not the case at all. As genetic technology grows more advanced, so has our understanding of the Y chromosome's importance. Its loss in older men, for example, is associated with an increased risk of cancer and other chronic diseases. These genes somehow play a part in multiple biological processes, but for decades, more than half of the Y chromosomes remained unsequenced, and its role in human health remained a mystery. And here you can see a picture. This is copyright National Human Genome Research Institute. It says the Y chromosome is among the teeniest of these 46 paired structures. So it's almost like a language. If you look at a language, it's just basically like a language. Now, just my observation, you can interpret it however you like. The age of mystery is ending for the first time. Geneticists have assembled a complete sequence of Y chromosomes, or chromosome. International Telomere to Telomere T2T Consortium added data for more than 60 million new base pairs and identified 41 new protein coding genes. Two studies published today in the Nature breaks down these findings, explaining how these chromosomes affect our reproduction, evolution, and even to the gut microbiome. The complete sequence of the Y chromosome has opened up a lot of doors for the scientific community, says Chris Lau, a professor of medicine at the University of California, San Francisco, who studies the human Y chromosome but was not involved in these current studies. Well, we anticipate some surprises could be forthcoming, just like the time in the past that we thought was full of junk materials. A picture of a century in the making. It took more than 100 years for biologists to construct a complete assembly of the Y chromosome structure after its discovery in 1905. The first human genome was completed in April 2003, but it left some behind. But it left behind some unknown gaps, including swaths of the Y chromosome. The chromosome's repetition made it a challenge to reconstruct. It has more than 1 million base pairs lined up in a long repeated sequence, says Karen Miga, associate director at the University of California, Santa Cruz. Genomics Institute and so-called lead of the T2T consortium. These are known as palindromes because they are the same from front to back. The Y chromosome is among the teeniest of the 46 paired structures. as I mentioned earlier. All chromosomes have some repeats in their genes, but the Y chromosome has an unusually high amount, that is. Assembling these are a laborious and expensive process. Quote, researchers have had a hard time studying this in the past because we just didn't have the right tools to reconstruct these really complex repeats, Mega says. New advances, long-read sequencing technology, and computational assembly methods made it easier to put each repetitive, repetitive sequence in order. For example, the, the team could now identify exactly where the inversion occurs. Where it breaks, the DNA causes a segment to reinsert itself in a reverse order, and use the technique to spot other inversions, filling in millions of blanks. The new techniques added more than 30 million base pairs missing from the current Human Genome Project, for a grand total of 62,460,029 base pairs in the Y chromosome. The Y chromosome shows to have a unique organization of DNA sequences that's strangely not seen in other chromosomes. Miga says she believes a ton of new biology is required to understand the evolutionary reason behind this organization and how parts of the chromosome correspond to human function. The research team has already made some headway in reshaping science. These newly discovered sequences corrected several mistakes and assumptions found in the human genome reference sequence. They've also provided new insights in the way that the Y chromosome shapes human life. Quote, this is an extremely important finding in the human genome field, Lau says. Fertility and proteins. The Y chromosome contains many genes that regulate the production of sperm. Some of these newfound repetitive genomic regions, according to Miga, plays a part in the process too. Quote, understanding differences that could exist between humans could really inform things like infertility and how the process is inherited across time, unquote. Sequencing the Y chromosome also revealed 41 new protein-coding genes. 38 of them were extra copies of a gene family called TSPY, thought to be involved in sperm production. It's possible they are also responsible for the development of male sex characteristics, but more research is needed to determine their precise roles. Visitation in human evolution. Commercial ancestry sites use Y chromosome to trace paternal lineages. The new DNA sequences can further help researchers understand how humans evolve over time. In the second study, geneticists examined the Y chromosome from 43 genetically diverse men. They found significant amounts of genetic variation between individuals. In some parts of the chromosome, its parts nucleotides were similar across the men, but half of the gene-rich regions of the Y chromosomes had greater mutation rates carrying larger inversions, at a higher rate than other parts of the genome. These differences in genetic variation could have potentially evolved to hold some biological function, though what it could be is unknown. Correcting bacterial confusion. When analyzing genetic samples, researchers often use databases to screen for sequences belonging to human DNA. If the sequences aren't found anywhere in the current model of the human genome, scientists are likely to conclude the material belongs to bacteria. The new study shows some Y bacterial sequences not yet entered in human databases were mislabeled as bacteria. Okay? Not junk after all. Geneticists will continue to mine discoveries from the treasure trove of data. Future analyses of the Y chromosome are likely to clarify the relevance of this chromosome in human health and disease. This information, quote, will benefit research in human evolution and migration, forensic science, and many translational applications in diagnostic and prognostic development in human diseases, Lau says. Well, particularly the scientific reason for the mosaic loss of the Y chromosome in disease and cancer, among others. All right. So I'm going to pose the question back to you. What do you think of the final missing piece of the human genome has been decoded? I welcome your ideas, your opinions, just as long as it's not derogatory in nature, as in you don't leave derogatory comments, and no threatening comments either. Remember, as I always say, far back as I've been doing review of these articles, and the purpose is for constructive conversation, not to say something that doesn't positively contribute to the discussion. Do you understand? That is the purpose. So, yes, only comments that are constructive in terms of, I mean, if you want to positively or criticize the article itself, the review of the article, you're welcome to do that, as long as it's constructive in nature, as that is the only thing that will make this experience better for other people that are looking at my articles, is focusing on being constructive. Okay, do you understand? All right. That being said, let's talk about our second article. All right, so we're going to switch gears from bioscience over to microelectronics. Now, before I read this article, I do want to make it clear as a disclaimer that the purpose of this review is for review, informational, and educational purposes. Not to take credit for the intellectual property. The full credit for the intellectual property itself goes to the publisher, in this case, which is Business Insider. And the story by, it says C. Howardry? No, H. Chowdhury at Insider.com. Or Hassan Chowdhury, if I've pronounced the person's name correct. Now, that being said, let's get to the article. The headline reads, Nvidia plans to triple production of its $40,000 chips as it races to meet huge demand from AI companies, report says. Now you see the picture here. This is copyright Kim Coolidge / Corbis / Getty Images. This is a picture of, as it says in the caption, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang will deliver second quarter earnings on Wednesday as demand for processors are driving the generative AI era booms. Yes, that's something that's really hot, generative AI. So I only have so much time to do so many articles, but what I might do is I might go through a lesson by lesson overview of machine learning. I think that's pretty hot. I just don't have, I'm doing so many different topics right now, so I'll get to it. I might end up giving it a priority simply because of the fact that it's very popular. Now, here are some key ideas to remember for this article. Number one, Nvidia is preparing to at least triple production of its GPUs, driving the AI boom. Just in case you don't know what the acronym GPU stands for, it stands for Graphical Processor Unit. This is the chip that's on the graphic card that does its own calculations. Number two, the chip giant is seeking to ship at least 1.5 million H100 processors next year, the FT reported, and I take it that means the Financial Times. Demand for these GPUs has soared given their role in building huge AI models behind applications such as ChatGPT. It's very interesting and it's very hot right now. So now we have some pictures here. So you can take a look at the slideshow right here. that was part of the slideshow. Yeah, so those. Okay, there's more. Oh, there's 5 of them. Oh, they have to throw in their oops. Sorry, of course, they have to throw in their advertisements, right? Well, anyway, now I'm not sure what. Oh yeah, this is simply just an advertisement for Denny's. Oh, oh, okay. Caption reads: Huang founded Nvidia over a meal at Denny's. Nvidia was founded in 1993 at a Denny's restaurant where he was meeting the two friends, Chris Mikulowski and Curtis Preem, per a September 2020 report in the Wall Street Journal. Well, that will be for next time. I think maybe if there's enough interest in that. Okay, so moving on to the rest of the article. Nvidia is preparing to triple the production of its $40,000 processors powering the generative AI revolution, as threat of shortages weighs on the ambitions of companies seeking to capitalize on the AI boom. The fresh report says Silicon Valley chip giant wants to boost production of its hotly pursued H100 processor, named after computer scientist Grace Hopper, with the aim of shipping between 1.5 million and 2 million units next year, up from 500,000 target this year, the Financial Times reported. I figured that's what the FT stands for because I've seen the acronym FT and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure that stands for Financial Times. So. Now here you can see a video. You'll be able to view this video as well. Okay. Now Nvidia soared to a $1 trillion market capitalization in May, with AI companies driving huge demand for processors, also known as GPUs, a fundamental component in the development of large language models underlying buzzy AI tools such as ChatGPT. The importance of processors to the AI boom has led to a global scramble as companies and nation-states have raced to secure a strong supply. Earlier this month, the Financial Times reported that Saudi Arabia and UAE has bought up thousands of Nvidia's H100 units. Meanwhile, rich VCs with the capital to buy GPUs have been busy purchasing them for portfolio startups seeking to build their own AI models trained on the data they sit on. Nvidia's AI processors have proven so popular that Chinese firms have been willing to buy them through underground markets in Hong Kong. And if I were to guess, it would probably be for a huge markup. So instead of paying 40,000, we're talking about paying 100,000 or maybe 80,000 or 75,000, something like that. Reuters reported in June as U.S. export rules bar Nvidia from selling its top-end processors to China. Well, as you know what they say, when there's a will, there's a way, and when there's money, there's often a way. It's almost like a poem, but it's in my experience quite true. Now, Nvidia is preparing to meet, or rather to report, second quarter earnings for its fiscal year after markets close on Wednesday, with AI companies and investors set to watch closely to hear CEO Jensen Huang's outlook for products vital to the AI boom. In Nvidia's first quarter, were announced a massive 19% jump in revenue to $7.2 billion from the previous quarter. Huang said the company was, quote, significantly increasing our supply to meet surging demand, unquote, for products like the H100. Nvidia did not immediately respond to insiders' requests for comment outside regular working hours. Well, that's reasonable. Just speaking for myself, in my opinion, that's reasonable because it's outside of working hours. Right. Now, some people really love what they do. I mean, I like doing this. I like doing the articles and creating the content I have. But people do have life, like people have families, people have hobbies, people, have vacations, relaxation time. I mean, as being a human being, you know what I mean? Like, work is important, but it's not everything. It's important, but it's not everything. Like people have hobbies, they like to do things outside of work. So, and of course, spending time with family is also quite important as well, as you already know. Now, I'd like to ask you to weigh in on this question. What do you think of Nvidia plans to triple production of its $40,000 chips as it races to meet huge demand from AI companies? A report says, is this good, is it bad, or what is your opinion, assessment, or evaluation? You're welcome to give your comments on that in the comments below. Just keep in mind I have two ground rules, at least two main ground rules, which is number one, no derogatory speech, meaning no derogatory comments. Number two, no threatening comments, even more so, staunchly strict on that. Remember that our purpose is for constructive dialogue. Add something constructive to the comments. I'm more than willing to take constructive criticism, just as long as it's something that is not sarcastic or derogatory or threatening, right? Sarcasm is sort of like in the category of derogatory, although it's not exactly, but it's sort of under the category. Remember that the purpose here is to add to what we have in a positive way that makes it better. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, very nice. Now, what I want to do is I want to talk about my third and final article for this morning. So because I didn't upload articles yesterday, I'll be having an afternoon articles. Okay. All right. For a third article for this morning, I'd like to let you know as a disclaimer. The purpose of this review is for review, information, and education purposes. It is not to take the credit for the intellectual property that's in this article. The full credit of the intellectual property of the article goes to the publisher, which in this case is Seeking Alpha, and the story by Robert Castellano, if I have that pronounced correctly. Now let's go to the headline. The headline reads, Tokyo Electron, the world's second largest equipment company, is oversold as Japan's sanctions on China begin. So I will ask you after the article, how do you weigh in on that? What is your take on that? But for now, I want to give you the facts first. Here's some key points to remember from this article. Number one, Tokyo Electron reported a 29.8% Q-on-Q, that's quarter-on-quarter, decrease in sales and 45.8% QOQ, means quarter-on-quarter, decrease in net income for Q1 2024. The company attributed the decline to weak demand for final products and adjustments in semiconductor memory inventories. Tokyo Electron expects sales for its first half and full fiscal year will be Japanese yen 790 billion and Japanese yen 1,700 billion, respectively, with the YOY, which refers to year-on-year change, of minus 23.0%, or just say 23, minus 23%. TEL maintains a dominant share of the dielectric etch ahead of Lam Research, a 90% share of resist coating required for the ASML systems, and the number 3 company in the global semiconductor industry. And just in case you're not familiar with ASML, that is a Dutch company that does semiconductor manufacturing, as far as I know. There is a video you can watch here, so you're welcome to watch that. I will watch that as well. Sometimes the video is just like a reiteration of what this article says. So, actually, I think that's the end of it right there. I didn't realize that. Okay. That's the end of that article. That was quick. I will pose the question to you now. I'll read the full article in Seeking Alpha. Uh, that one's a long article. I will let you read this article yourself. I'll put the link in here. I'm just, for the articles, I'm just giving you the main points. I'm not trying to make, like, I'm not trying to read a book here, so for that one, I'll have you read it on your own. I will read it as well. Okay. So, that will do it for the 3 article review for this morning. I'm doing two article reviews. I mean, 2 sessions of article reviews because I didn't do a session of article reviews yesterday. In fact, I had a computer problem and that had to be fixed, and I had other things that were urgent I had to deal with. So I guess that's how the cookie crumbles, right? So with that being said, um, I will ask you the same thing. What do you think of the Tokyo Electron, world's second largest equipment company, is oversold as Japan's sanctions on China begin? Is this a good thing, a bad thing, or what is your take? Meaning, what is your analysis, your assessment, etc.? Now, please, first of all, make sure that what you make as comments is relevant to this. Please, no, I forgot to put this in my other videos. Please, no advertisements in the comments. Okay. If you have a channel that relates to electronics or something, that's fine, but no advertisements of products or services, okay? But besides that, my main 2 rules is no derogatory comments, and definitely no threatening comments in the comment section. I want you to remember and understand that the purpose here is for constructive dialogue as far as comments in the comment section, right? We want to keep this constructive, and we want to keep this positive as to improve the experience of you as the watcher of the review get to give your feedback or comments. Make sure it's constructive in nature. If it's something that's derogatory, I'll just ban you. You know what I mean? Because I already told you the rules in advance. If you already know the rules, that's what you need to do. You gotta respect people who are taking time to put content out, and ensure that comments are constructive. Now, you can have constructive criticism, but the key word is constructive. You understand what I'm saying? All right. Thank you for understanding me on that matter. Now, I'd like to first of all thank you for watching this review, as I will have a review in the afternoon, probably right after lunch. Now, please click like on the video, so that way it will be pushing the algorithm and more people will be able to see it. Okay? Also, if you haven't subscribed on this channel, and I have this, by the way, I'm going to have this uploaded to both YouTube and Rumble, so I recommend you both, or at least I would like to politely ask you to click subscribe on those channels. Also, if you haven't already, please click the bell button, that way you'll be notified of all my future videos. I would again like to thank you for watching this video. I'd like to wish you a great day, take care, and I will talk to you this afternoon when I have part 2 of my